What's up, guys? Welcome to A Reseller's Life. My name is Chris. Thank you so much for joining me. It's October 7th. I'm just getting back from Poshfest, and I want to talk about why I think that your sales on eBay or Poshmark or Mercari or whatever are going to go down, even though I think the overall sales for all these platforms is actually going to go up. And I've seen this actually happen before. If you guys know, I used to drive Uber, Lyft, and Sidecar like maybe 10 years ago. When the first platforms came out, I consider myself a connoisseur of side gigs. I like all of them. I make money on almost all of them. I'm one of the original people on Patreon. I have founders pricing, which means on Patreon, I pay way less fees than people who sign up now. And that's sort of a thank you to the people who started on the platform and learned about it, and they're rewarding the people who just started. Now, I think that applied in the beginning of Uber. If you're one of the first drivers, you only have to pay like 5% of the fare to the company. There are still drivers, I bet, that have been driving since the very beginning. I don't know if they have since then removed that, but it makes sense, in my opinion, to reward the founders. They know the app the best. They probably give the best driving experience. And makes sense for me to offer the people who got you started some premium exposure or a little bit of a lower fee rate. Now, I have seen that happen on other platforms. I just got back from Poshfest. The largest sellers are Suzanne, Cannon, and Tiffany. They run that store, Infinity Rain. It's very cool. They're one of the original people on Poshmark, and I believe, let me know in the comment section if this is correct or not. They are the first people to earn 7 figures on Poshmark, the first people to have $1 million in sales on the platform, which is amazing. They have a private label and a brick and mortar, and they support themselves fully from selling clothes. Incredible story, right? But they don't get any preferential treatment. Okay, so what that means is, as millions of new Poshers join the platform, they're not getting any less fees, and they're not getting any improved exposure. And I would just guess, I don't know their sales data, but I would guess that their sales have been the same or gone down a little bit if they did the same thing. You have to adjust your business. It doesn't work. You can't do the same thing and expect your business to stay the same. If the market is exactly the same or a little bit bigger, but the number of sellers skyrockets, the amount of the pie shrinks for everybody, and it becomes different. The same thing happened with Uber, Lyft, and Sidecar. People were earning 6-figure incomes when it first started. People were making $2,000 profit a week because I think it was only 5% of the fare was going to Uber. It was crazy. People were killing it. Now, if you look at Uber, after you do the deductions, right? People are earning less than $15 an hour, and they're putting ridiculous mileage on their car. They're not even noticing until their car is completely destroyed or needs repairs that they're really taking advantage of their car's worth. They're like absorbing their car's worth up front, and they have to pay for it later, but they get that instant money. And I feel like reselling is just like that. I don't see eBay or Poshmark or Mercari or Amazon shrinking. They're doing great. Lots of new people, even though per person we might be doing worse. I feel like the platforms will grow. So the main issue right now is these platforms don't need that many new sellers. This is just my personal opinion. I think that they need is more buyers. They need to focus more on advertising. I really felt that with the previous CEO, Devin. When I asked him in person what he was going to do to grow eBay, he said more marketing. I think that he could have also improved the marketplace, and I feel like the new CEO, whoever comes in, is going to do that. They're going to try to make eBay a better place to buy. But that being said, I want to point out that I do think eBay is an incredible place to buy, and at the cost of the sellers. The reason why it's a great place to buy is because you get a great deal on most items. It's cheaper than Amazon most of the time, cheaper than buying it at the store. A lot of stores, I think Pure Hustle Podcast just posted that 70% of people are offering free shipping now. That's crazy. Okay, so free shipping, even if it's not free and you're building it into the price, it looks free to the customer. Free returns is very common. I posted a few different store reviews in the past little bit, which included stores that were offering 365-day returns. That's the same policy as Zappos. Zappos became a $1 billion company, and then Amazon bought them. Customers like free shipping. Customers like free returns. 365-day returns is ridiculous. Like, of course you're gonna buy there. And that scares me when it comes to Poshmark, because I feel like if returns were accepted, it would weed out a lot of the bottom sellers that aren't doing that well or don't know what they're doing, and it would just leave a better buying experience for others, especially people who've been on the platform for a long time and have that tremendous customer service, amazing rating. Those people would be rewarded because they do ship quickly and they're very consistent in their items, so there wouldn't be very many returns for people who are really good at what they do, especially private label people. Meaning, if you sell brand new items over and over again, there's a lot less defects than if you sell pre-owned items or liquidation or closeout, because those items have a higher likelihood of being returned because the condition is objective. Like, you might say it's excellent condition, the customer might say it's horrible condition. You don't know. And describing it allows rooms for errors, right? You don't know exactly what, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. When the customer gets the item, they're going to have whatever opinion they have. And it scares people when they're not able to return something. One thing I really do like about Poshmark is their over $500 authentication service. I think that gives buyers a really premium experience because Poshmark itself is standing behind the product. eBay had an opportunity to do this, and they do this. They have a couple of stores where you can do consignment through an authorized eBay dealer even now. But again, they're not doing that on a global scale like, let's say, the RealReal or other shops that are taking in really high-end items. I think eBay pretty much just surrendered the market share to the RealReal. On StockX, I feel like it's a premium experience for sellers. As a seller of footwear, now I'm going to be doing that a little bit more. I'm starting to feel like I need to make a huge adjustment right now. Okay, I need to stop dabbling in all these different platforms and learning about them, and I really need to focus on just one category because competition's about to get fierce. I can feel it. I can feel it right now, especially after visiting Phoenix, Arizona. I didn't realize how cheap it is to live in other places. I don't typically visit areas that are cheaper. For some reason, I just like big cities. I visited, I think, in the top 20 cities in the world, I've been to 18 of them. I like going to the big cities. I moved from New York City, one of the most expensive places, to the Bay Area, which has become the most expensive place. I like living in these types of areas, and it makes me forget, right, that in other places in the country, things are a lot easier. I forgot people had free time. Honestly, I did not know that. Yesterday, we were hanging around in Phoenix. Everyone was just relaxing. We don't do that. It's really hard to afford to live here. We live in an average place that would cost around $2,800 if you were to rent it. Right, that's a lot of pressure, especially since we don't even live in that nice of a place, right? If you get I would say a higher end place, it's a minimum $4,000 for a 1-bedroom. It's very expensive. So for me, leisure is not really a thing. I always come up with these big plans for people. You're gonna need to do hundreds of items, whatever, thousands of things. But my point is that you need to crush it. But now, after looking at different areas in the country, I think reselling is tremendously popular. You can do it from home. If you live in a place where your rent's under $1,000 and you can order stuff online, you have such a big advantage over me because like your overhead is so much lower. And as far as if you want to get somebody to help you, it's even cheaper. So it's starting to make me rethink where I live and if I can even really compete as a reseller, unless I really, really focus on one niche. And I think it's going to be shoes, to the point where I just stop selling all the other stuff because I really need to stand out from the competition. I really need to be better. So another thing that's pretty fascinating is, in my previous video, I mentioned that I think looks matter. So if you present your items better, or if you have a model, whatever, you're making the item more desirable to a potential customer, you will stand out. I don't think that anymore because I got a wave of emails from people saying, hey, look at my store. And I'm like, wow, your pictures are amazing, really well lit. You have a really good looking either mannequin or live model. And the mannequin is usually, I haven't seen too many, most mannequins look the same. I don't know how to, that's going to offend 1 to 3% of people, but people are buying a certain shape mannequin, right, for their items. And at this point, I've accepted that 1 to 3% of people are going to be offended by anything I say. So you could have every single size, shape mannequin if you choose, but if you just look at what's trending, usually people are using one type of mannequin. That being said, pictures are phenomenal. people are really working hard. I'm seeing some amazing stores, well lit, well described, great titles, and still not really having tremendous sales. Okay, so I see it. Of course, there are people who are really, really good at what they do and they're still crushing it. But there are people who do a really good job and are not crushing it, okay, which is kind of scary. I'm gonna give you one more example from my Uber experience. When I was driving for Uber, I saw people hopping onto the app, using my sign up bonus because I was making pretty good money referring new people to the platform. And they would quit after like 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. They weren't able to make it work. What they would do is just drive whenever they want, show up to any random neighborhood, and it just wasn't working. Whereas my day was completely different. I know that public transportation here starts around 5 a.m. So I want to drive when there's no public transportation because then I'm not competing with public transportation. I know that sounds crazy, but if you drive around between 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning in a rich neighborhood, okay, you're not gonna get a drunk person or a bar goer because they're not in that area. They're in downtown or they're somewhere near nightlife. They are asleep. Rich clientele are asleep at 3 or 4 in the morning, and there's only one place they're going to at that time, which is the airport, right? I know that sounds like rocket science, but it's not. So I would drive up there in the middle of the morning, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, ping. 90% of the time it was somebody going to the airport, and those fares were a lot more expensive. So I was earning 2, 3, 4 times more than other people driving at the same time. Okay, and for me, I was like, okay, I see people driving brand new Camrys, brand new whatever driving, and I'm like, why? We are selling convenience. Okay, so I have the cheapest car that's allowed on the platform to do this job, right? That seems really obvious to me when you are in the business of working for yourself, trying to reduce your expenses, but not obvious to other people. If you buy a brand new car to do Uber and your car is devaluing faster than the money that you're earning, then you are actually going backwards. You'd be better off just getting a regular job. So that being said, there are Uber drivers that still earn a great living because they understand their market. They're going to the places that are richer and driving those people to the airport. Is that discriminatory? Yes, because they're looking for a specific clientele that pays more. You could go into the middle of the city and take people from the public transit system home and make money $2 or $3 at a time. Or you could get an Uber black car, drive people to the airport, and make $25 to $50 per drive. Right? So it's up to you guys, however you want to plan your day. But honestly, you really need to hone in right now and get really good at something so that other people can't just come in and take that from you. It's really important. Competition is going to get really stiff coming up soon, and I want everybody to succeed. So just make sure you pay attention right now because more and more and more people will start reselling because of the insane lifestyle freedom it gives you. Can you just imagine you can work any time of the day from home in your bed buying stuff online? And I got a dozen messages saying right now Poshmark is the best place to flip items. People are getting very desperate on the platform, selling items way below market just to trigger some sales, which in my opinion doesn't work. You don't need to do that. If you have a Chanel purse, you don't need to panic and sell. It will sell for close to the whatever the market price is if you're just patient. But it's a good opportunity for people to swoop in and buy stuff and resell it. If you guys want to know a store that's making 6 figures just buying on Poshmark and reselling on eBay, that's really sad that exists. But that's business, okay? And it's cold and heartless. But there's people on Poshmark that are really desperate and trying to sell their inventory. This person is buying that inventory. They live in the middle of nowhere, okay, so where rent is super duper cheap. They're buying that inventory from Poshmark, flipping it on the eBay for 2-3 times more, and they're patient. Their sell-through rate's really low. It's like 15% a month because they're getting that full pop each time. They're like making $20 to $60 on those items, and it's when I look at that, I'm like, wow, this opportunity is really crazy. Right now, tons and tons of people are starting to resell, and I don't see that trend stopping. Okay, there's videos saying, is reselling dead? I don't think so. I think the reselling is growing. More and more and more people are reselling 1 or 2, 5, 10 items. If you don't think that adds up, think about 300 million people adding 10 items. That's 3 billion listings. eBay right now has 1 billion listings. Okay, we're talking about quadruple the competition if everybody just starts listing 10 items from their house. Okay, and how much marketing out there is there? Hey, make some extra money, offer up, let go, eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, make some extra money this weekend. Instead of going to the bar, have a garage sale. This is like heavy into our culture right now. So appreciate your guys' time. I really want you to focus. If you have any questions, email me, chris@dailyrefinement.com. I just posted some really good guides on my Instagram. If you guys want to see just sort of some basic layouts, I have a little bit more of a detailed guide in a course form. You can purchase in the link below for $35. I feel like that's very affordable. Otherwise, just do your own homework, learn what you can when it comes to reselling, and I'll see you guys in the next show. Like, comment, subscribe. Take care.